Mobius 6 Kilo Tango, you have not been cleared into the Bravo airspace. Exit the Bravo immediately. Once clear, advise when ready to copy phone number for possible pilot deviation.
It's quite amusing. So we shouldn't really be getting radio check channel, or we shouldn't be getting nav 2 when there's no power. Wonderful. Okay, so we are on the ground at Seattle in the 737 MAX in Flight Simulator 2024. We're running say intentions in the background. So you can see, if you look around in the airport, there's quite a lot of air traffic around us. And the weather is closing in as well, which is really helping. We're going to fly. This is the stock 737 MAX that comes with 2024. We're going to fly it from Seattle down to San Francisco, just to see how it goes, really, and to show people who are maybe just starting out in Flight Simulator and want to fly the MAX, because obviously it comes with the simulator, how it works. So I haven't flown it for a while, so I'm going to be a little bit rusty. And I'm going to be using my own functional procedure to start the airplane up. So you can crib from what I'm doing on the screen, or if you want a copy of the procedure yourself, you can go into the notes of this video and see the link for it. But here's the original version of it. So it goes through all of the camera controls in the simulator, and it goes through things you have to do, like the walk around. It goes through the pre-flight, and so everything it does, it tells you what key to press to get there, using the default views that come with the airplane. Where to look, what to click, what to press, what to turn, what to configure to do everything you need to do. So we're going to work through this together, and I'm going to follow the EFB route of programming the flight plan and see how we'll get on. So you can see it goes through in quite some detail all the steps to go through. So we're going to close that out of the way. I've got it on a second screen next to me. I have filed the flight plan with Simbrief, so we are going to be United 073 today. And you can see there's our flight plan, which we are going to have to program into the tablet within the simulator, because that's how you get things into here. Although we could do it by hand, I guess. It could show, that might be handy actually, to show you how to program a flight plan by hand, because you can do it both ways. You can either put your flight plan into the EFB, so in other words you put your departure and arrival and intermediate waypoints in, or you can just program the thing by hand. So I think there's probably some value of me showing you how to program it by hand. Okay. Let's go and try and remind ourselves how to start this airplane up then. So Shift 7 will take us overhead. We're going to go and put the batteries to on and close the cover on the battery switch. Go to bus transfer, and you will see if you spawn at a gate you should have ground power available. So you can see the switches right here. So we're going to go ground power straight away, and there's a huge reaction from the aeroplane, as in none. So Shift and 8 takes us further overhead, and we can see there's the dome light, and then more importantly here are the INS, or in this case inertial reference system switches. So this is the system that tells the airplane which way up it is or which direction it's accelerating in. You can also rotate this round to status mode, and it won't really do much in this version of the airplane, which is a bit of a shame. So then Shift and 7 brings you further back down. We can go and arm the emergency lights, so that's here. So we can put it on the middle setting and close the cover on it. And then go to the window heats up the top. So we go and put we have to go and change the view slightly to do this. So left and right switches on, put the probe heats on as well. So all of those lights go out. And then we're going to program this flight without the EFB, because I think there's more value in it. So Shift 2, because this will arm you to do this in any Boeing, in any simulator. If you know how the actual airplane works, then you can go do this. So we're going to press position initialization on the first page, and then we're going to go and start programming. So the reference airport is where we are, which is KSEA. So in order to program the route, we're going to be referring to this string in the Simbrief flight plan, the route string. So our departure airport is KSEA. We know we're departing from 16 left, but when we program the route, we don't actually put in, that will be the SID, the standard instrument departure, that will be the STAR, or standard terminal arrival route. We're actually interested in that part of it. Yeah, from after the SID until just before the STAR. That's the actual route. So we put in our reference airport, so we've keyed it into the scratch pad, and then we just press the button next to the field we want to populate, and it drops it in. We don't have to fill the gate, so square boxes are mandatory fields, hyphens are optional, but it's a bit strange that they've got set IRS as optional, because it really isn't. So what you do is you go next page, and you pick up one of the GPS positions. So there's one there, look, and that will drop that value into the scratch pad. Then go previous page and drop on top of, so it's in our scratch pad, then we can drop it on top of the IRS position and it populates it. Okay, so having done that, on the FMC, the bottom right option is usually the thing to go, or the option to go to the next thing you need to do, which in our case is the route. So we can, now this is where it's a little bit unrealistic. It really should have carried our reference airport into here for us, but we can rekey it. KSEA is our origin airport, and we're going to KSFO, which is San Francisco. So KSFO. Okay, we can invent a flight number. So I'm going to say, I said I was United, didn't I? So UAL 073, and I'll put that in my flight number field. And the runway you're taking off from, so if we go and look at our flight plan, 16L is what we have on our flight plan. Okay, so that's our basic route. But you'll see we are on page 1 of 2. So we actually want to go to the next page. And this is where we're going to put in this bit of the flight plan. So we haven't put a SID in yet, so we're going to say we're going direct to FEPOT. So we key in FEPOT, and the key to this screen is you put waypoints or intersections on the right and airways on the left. So if you don't put an airway in, it will presume you mean direct. So if I put FEPOT in as our first waypoint, it presumes direct. We're going to change that and put a SID in a moment, the standard instrument departure. So then we're going to take airway Q3. So we put in, if I can find Q on the keyboard, Q3, and stick that into the airway, and then found is the next waypoint. So FOWND. And then we're going direct to Mulbeck. So we don't put in the airway, we just go MLBEC and drop that in. And then it's the start, so we don't put anything else in. So that is our flight plan. So we activate it and we execute it. Okay? So next it wants performance initialization. We're going to deviate slightly at this point. I'm going to go and put the SID and the star in and show you where you can see the route as a whole, or the legs I should say. So if we go to departures and arrivals, so first thing it's going to show us is departures. So it already knows we're taking off on runway 16 left, but we need to tell it which SID we're using. So it's Harrow B6. So there's Harrow B6, so we select it. It wants to know if we have a transition, so you're looking at the next waypoint. Is FEPOT there? Yes, it is. Okay, so execute it. Then we can go back to the index page after doing that, and then we can go and say what the arrival is on our flight plan into San Francisco. So 28 right for the approach, and the Bodega 4 standard terminal arrival route, or STAR. So 28 right and Bodega 4. So 28 right, so that's saying GPS. Let's have a look down, see if we've got ILS. ILS 28 right is much better. And Bodega 4. And again, this has got transitions for both. So has it got it's got Mulbeck as the waypoint before the start. And then transitions here Now, this is where this really doesn't tell you very much. If we go and look in Navigraph, for example, you can see it's got Bodega 4. It hasn't got our runway, so we're going to go and put in the ILS 28 right, which is what we chose in LittleNavMap. And you can see you have options for different transitions, and it's drawing them all, which is rather interesting. So if we just say the final one, it's going to be really odd. So this is where this is going to be quite an interesting one. So let's remove that. Let's see what some of the others look like. So this is where Navigraph kind of starts to win. I've done the wrong thing there, haven't I? Cancel that. That's the departure that I've just wiped out by accident. So we were taking off from... In fact, if you do mess this up in Navigraph, like I've just done, you can just unload it and re-import it. Import from Simbrief. There we go. We meant to do this one, didn't I? So let's go and select a different one in here. ILS 28 right. And let's have a look at them. So SIDB would be coming out to here. They're all a bit strange, aren't they? We'll just use the final one. Okay. So let's go and say essentially we're not going to bother with the transition, so we can just execute that. If we had chosen one, it will put some extra waypoints in to get from the transition to the approach. So we'll just say execute. So we may have something to sort out when we get to the other end. We'll find out. Knowing my luck, say Intentions will give us, or the air traffic services staff will give us some instructions anyway. They'll go and vector us in. It's quite common that happens if there's not much air traffic around. Okay, so we've done the basic route planning, we've done the SID and the STAR. We haven't done the performance calculations. So if we go and look in init-refs, it will take us straight to the performance calculations. So we're going to put our cruise altitude in. So if we go back and look at our Simbrief flight plan, we've got 35,000 feet. So, oh, something else that's worth pointing out, I'm just going to execute that. Before we do anything else, when I first got into the aeroplane, I went and looked in the fuel and the seats and the cargo and made sure they were okay for this amount of fuel. So I turned it into pounds, obviously, because it's in pounds in here. I slid the slider along until I had enough in pounds to cover it. So, sorry, in fuel. So it was about 14,000, so I've given it way more than I need. I've given it 168 seats. I've obviously got a slightly different layout. The Simbrief flight plan was obviously all economy, and it was 177 seats. So yeah, you're going to get slight discrepancies like that, but it's nothing to worry about. So I put the sliders in the right positions and then loaded the aircraft. So I'd already done that before I started the stream. So zero fuel weight, you just press the button next to it and it calculates it for you and puts it in. The reserves, you can do that from the flight plan if you want to be super accurate about things. The easy way to do it is look on View PDF to see the original or the proper format. And if you look in planned fuel, you've got your final reserves and your alternate. So you just add the two together. So you want 1.9. Okay, so if we put in 1.9 in there, and then a cost index, this governs how aggressively the aeroplane can accelerate and climb. So its cost index is here. If we look on Simbrief itself, it's here. So 30 on the cost index. And then we can go through, we've done everything on that page, go through to the N1 limit. So this is your climb out limit basically. And it's typically, what the game is here, you can actually derate the engines and run them under power on purpose. But we're going to just let them go. Then you can go takeoff. So we're going to give it the flap level for takeoff. I don't think it has a calculator in here. There is one in Simbrief. So you can go and have a nose around Simbrief. I'm going to say 5 degrees, which is typically for the 737 what you want. So having said 5 degrees, you can then, it's going to calculate you the V speeds. So you just press the button next to them to populate them. So this is your decision speed, your rotate speed, and your minimum climb out speed. Okay, so we've done that. Let's go and have a look at the legs page. And we're going to go next page all the way through it, just to make sure there are no discontinuities, so no gaps in the flight plan. So you can see there's a vectors there. So when we get to bricks, there will be vectors until we get to Kepin. Let's go and have a look at that. So if we look on LittleNavMap, because it's quite an easy visual way to do it, if we go all the way down here, there's bricks, yeah. So getting from the end of our star over to the beginning of our approach, there is no flight plan. So what we could do, seeing as we've got say intentions in play, is ask it. Say, can we have vectors please for the 22, what are we doing, 22 right approach, or 28, sorry. We'll ask for vectors for the 28 right approach. So we'll just leave that in the flight plan. Does that make sense? And then when we get to that point in the flight, we'll ask. I mean, obviously we could make it up ourselves and just fly the aeroplane round until, oh, we've already moved in LittleNavMap, but you could just fly the aeroplane round until you're in the right place. Let me turn some of the traffic off in here to tidy the map up. Okay, so we've done everything in the flight management computer that we need to do. If you do want to get a visualization of your route, let me just pop the yoke off for a moment so we can see. You can rotate this knob above the navigation screen to plan mode, and it changes to a north-up perspective. And it centers itself. If you look on the legs page, it will say CTR next to one of the legs. So you can see also there's a step option. So let me zoom in slightly. You can see there's a step option has appeared at the bottom right. So then we can go and press step and it will move through our flight plan. Now, the range works in this view. So if we just zoom out a bit more, and then we can go and step through our flight plan to make sure it looks broadly similar to what we expected. So it's just a sanity check of your flight plan. Okay, so then we're going to get to our bricks, and then we've got the vectors over to Sepin. Remember, before we come in on finals. So to come back out of that mode, you just rotate this back to map mode. Okay, and you might want to bring the range back down, ready for your takeoff, just to make sure that you haven't got any unexpected surprises. So let's bring that right down to that far away. That will do. Okay, so if you press legs again, it will go to the first leg in the flight plan. So that's got a gross flight plan check, by the way. So I've got that detailed in the procedure as well, how to do it. Okay, so next thing we're going to look at is the mode control panel, which is this panel here that controls the autopilot. So we're going to pre-configure it to do what we need it to do. So both of the flight director switches need to go on. We're going to go and set the altitude. Now, we haven't gone and talked to clearance yet. So because I'm using air traffic services for this flight, we'll need to do that. So first things first, we're going to go and talk or listen to ATIS.
Contact, you have Information Hotel.
Information Hotel is the thing we're after.
Seattle Tacoma International Air.
So then we're going to go over to clearance, and we're going to ask them for clearance to San Francisco with Information Hotel. Seattle clearance, United 073 requesting clearance to San Francisco with Information Hotel. So they'll go and they'll confirm to us they've got our flight plan. So we're just waiting for Tower to come back.
United 073 cleared to San Francisco via the Harab 6 departure, then is filed. Climb and maintain 6000. Expect flight level 35010 minutes after departure. Departure on 120.4, squawk 6737. Expect runway 16 left.
Cleared to San Francisco via the Harbor 6 departure, then it's filed. Climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Expect flight level 35010 minutes after departure. Departure 120.4, squawk 6737, expecting runway 16 left. United 073. So then we'll get readback correct, which means we've confirmed that we understand.
073, readback correct, contact ground on 121.7.
And that's the end of our communication with anybody for a while, so we'll put it back on radio check for the moment, and we can refer back to this as we go and do things around the cockpit. So we need to go and set that initial altitude to 6,000 feet. And Say Intentions is kicking in with the cabin crew. So if we go and have a look, just out of interest, and look at this departure in Navigraph, it's got above 3,000, above 10,000. Yeah, so it's interesting that we've got an initial climb to 6,000. It's so that's not to do with. Although, sorry, 10,000 is a different route. So it's just, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? It's just above 3,000. That's our only constraint we have to worry about. Okay. So we're going to put in 6,000 as our target because that's what we've been told. We're going to put in the initial runway direction. Actually, we need to in this aeroplane. This is where I'm going to forget. So LNAV, okay. Yeah, we're also, this is lateral navigation. So this means the aeroplane will steer itself if it's close enough to the GPS track. But we're also going to put in the departure runway direction. So let's go and have a look. Runway 16 left. So we'll put in 160 just as our backup. So the quickest way to get there is this way. So bear with me. Rolling the mouse like a mad person. And you can see the heading bug line twisting around the navigation display as we get it there. Okay, so we'll also say VNAV, and it will allow it because we've got a flight plan and it's all programmed in with the performance data. And we've got the flight directives on. So as long as you've got the flight plan entered, the performance data entered, and the flight directives on, you should be able to use VNAV. The backup for it, so you will see that now we've enabled it here. Look, it's saying LNAV and VNAV at the top of the primary flight displays. You can double them up. So you could have vertical speed mode, and you could say, okay, we want the aeroplane to climb out at, say, 1,700 feet a minute. But we'll also have VNAV. And it will say both. And it will switch to VNAV when it can. You can do the same with the lateral navigation. We can say heading select and lateral navigation, and it will do both. And as soon as it's close enough to the GPS track, which will be immediately, it will go to LNAV and drop heading select and vertical speed. Okay, so we won't arm the auto throttles until we get on the runway. When you're in VNAV mode, if the auto throttles are on, the indicated airspeed will disappear. We can also set this, but it won't be needed. So you typically need it to be a little bit higher than your V2 speed. So we'll just say 180 knots as our minimum for the climb out. Doesn't really matter because it's not going to be used anyway. We're using VNAV. So VNAV means it's going to use these speeds as targets. So below 10,000 feet, it's going to go for 250 knots. If you go next page, you'll see it suddenly, once we go up through 14,000 feet, it's up to 300 knots nearly. And then above about 25,000 feet, it will switch over to Mach number because that's much more accurate than indicated airspeed at high altitude. Okay, so next thing to do, we've programmed everything here. We're going to go and press comma, which will set the barometric pressures for the for the altimeters. So it's done that, and it's done the standby one for us automatically, which is good. So then overhead, we're going to turn the seatbelt signs on. So they are here. We'll put them on auto. We'll put the yaw damper to on. On the lighting section, do we need to do anything with the lighting? We probably don't. Or do we? Yeah, this is lit up. Let's just have a quick look at this. So if we just turn some of these around a little bit. Yeah, there was an earlier version of this aeroplane where nothing appeared in these screens until you turned the brightness on here. But it appears they've fixed that, or they've fixed it by breaking it in a way, because that didn't affect these. Anyway, so on the environmental control system, we need to set our cruise altitude, so the aeroplane will pressurize the environmental control system properly, or the cabin. So we'll go 35,000, because that will be our cruise. And then we're going to go and turn on aft fuel pump number 1, because it's going to provide fuel for the APU. And then we're going to go on the APU and say start and hold it down and let go. Now, unfortunately, I don't think this aeroplane has an indicator to show you where the APU is in terms of starting up. It will just suddenly light up with the APU gen off bus light. So unlike the Airbus, the Boeing doesn't automatically do bus transfers between ground power, APU power, and the main engines providing the power. So the 737 series have always had this manual bus transfer. Oh, I've just turned the head-up display on by accident. So what you're waiting for is the APU gen off bus light to come on, which means that the APU is ready, but we're not using it. So in other words, it's generating electricity. The low oil pressure is a good thing to see. It means it's busy firing up. If we go and look outside and look around the back of the aeroplane, having turned the APU on, once it starts working, you'll see heat pouring out. You can kind of see it. Have we got the light yet? Not yet. So we're just waiting for that light to come on. Give it a few moments. That warning light's gone out. I'm hoping, against hope, that this is going to behave itself. There we go. I was starting to get worried then. So once that has lit up, you can flick the middle 2 switches down. We are now using the APU. We don't have to flick the switch for ground power to off. It's happened automatically. Okay, so we're now using the auxiliary power unit, the small gas turbine in the tail of the aeroplane, to generate our electricity, but more importantly, it's generating the compressed air we'll be using to spin up the engines. Okay, so anti-collision lights need to go to on. So down here, anti-collision lights on. All the fuel pumps can go on, ready to start the main engines. We haven't got any fuel in the centre tanks, so I'm not going to bother switching the pumps on for the centre tanks. On a longer flight you might have fuel in them, so you would need that. And we're going to go and put the APU bleed to on. So APU bleed on the 7.3s is over here. It's important when you're spinning the engines up that the packs are off. Otherwise you won't have enough air pressure. So you can see the duct pressure here. If you go and turn the packs on, I'll do it temporarily, look, it drops. So if you're using the packs, you haven't got enough air pressure left to spin the engines up. Okay, so we're going to go do pushback, and because we're using air traffic services, we can clear out warnings along the way, by the way. We're going to go and contact air traffic services and ask ground for pushback and engine start. So you can see, say intentions, if you have it in the right mode, is really helpful in terms of telling you kind of the next thing you need to do. So we're going to go to ground, and we're going to talk to them. Ground, United 073 requesting pushback and engine start.
United 073, pushback and engine start approved. Tail south.
Pushback and engine start approved. Tail south. United 073. So let's go and see what that looks like on the chart. If we go and pop over to the airport, they want the tail facing south. So we want our tail to go to the right. Now, in this aeroplane, we don't get any choice. So we're just going to press Alt and P and hope for the best. So I've pressed Alt and P. Here comes the tractor. You have to be ready to come off the parking brake, so I'll turn it off already. We can watch this from outside. Is there anything moving behind us? Nope. Which way is it going to go? This is a lottery. So we wanted our tail, ideally, tail to the south, so we want the tail to go to the right. Is that what's going to happen? We're about to find out. Is the tractor going to start pushing us? Today would be good. Oh, do we have to release? Yes, we do. So to release the parking brake on the 7.3 series, you have to hold the toe brakes in. But have they bugged it? I've just released it again. We're not being pushed, are we? There's a bug in the aeroplane. Here we go. We've discovered one. So parking brake pulled up would be on. Down is off. And we haven't got any chocks, have we? No. I'm just checking things that might have gone wrong with the simulator. So, okay. We're going to cancel the pushback and we'll just make the best of it. I'll do a very tight left turn and try to avoid the gates. So we're going to go immediate full left tiller. And this is this is where we would start the engines. So to start the engines, you choose an ignition system. We already have the APU bleed on. We choose an ignition, left or right, doesn't matter which, they can start either engine, it's just there's two systems, so they would alternate them to avoid wear and tear. You set it to ground, and you look down here now. Is it going to be behaving itself? Yes, it is. So N2 is coming up, that's the axle speed of the gas turbine. So when that gets through 20%, you can advance the fuel control switch down here, which will obviously, you can see there it goes, and we can go advance that. You'll see the fuel flow go in, then you'll see the exhaust gas temperature go up, he says, famous last words. Oh, is this the aeroplane going to bite us? There it goes, it just took a while. Fuel flow is increased, exhaust gas temperature is increasing, and then the turbofan speed is increasing as well. And the oil pressures are coming up. Am I using GSX, and did I connect the tug? The tug didn't work. I've only got the stock tug in the simulator, and I haven't got GSX. This is saying we have got some fuel in the center tank, so let's go and switch it on. So I didn't think we did, but we do. Okay. So engine's up and running. Once the engine is up and running, the starter switch will roll back to off all on its own. So like I said, we'll switch over to left just for wear and tear purposes, switch it to ground for the left engine, or engine number 1, and you can see N2 is coming up immediately, and the fuel flow will kick in as soon as we switch on the lever. The trick here is you need to get the engine spinning fast enough that once the fuel is introduced and ignited, it will basically run itself. So give it a few seconds. Remember, it took a few seconds last time. Yeah, for some reason the aeroplane didn't push back, even though we've got the parking brakes off. It's very strange. Okay, so remember what we said. Once the engine's up and running, this switch will roll back to off all on its own. So we just keep an eye on that switch. We haven't set the transponder code yet, so once we're near to taxiing, it'll be worth doing that. So here's the transponder down here. It's on system 1, it's on now, and we're going to go and tune in our transponder code that ATC told us, which is 6737. Okay. We're also going to turn this to TA only on the TCAS. So we're just broadcasting our position to others. And we're going to set the flaps to 5 degrees. You could do this on the roll to the runway. I'm trying to remember where the settings are. Yeah, it's gone further than 5 degrees. Look, we want 5 degrees for takeoff. There we go. So I've got detents on my flap lever. I've got the Airbus controller, so flying the Boeings is quite good fun with it. So there we can see we've got 5 degrees on the flaps. Engines are idling. So because the engines are running, if we press Shift and 7 to see overhead again, we can turn the APU bleed back off now, and we can turn the APU off. So, but before we do that, this is the bus transfer panel again. We're going to transfer away from the APU being used to the engines for the power. So we pull down on the outside switches. We're now using the engines to provide electricity to the aeroplane. The APU is off bus, meaning it's still running, but it's not providing power, so we can go turn that off. Then that light goes out. And then we can go and turn the packs on. This is the environmental control system for the cabin, so it will pressurize it basically. Ready for when we get to 35,000 feet. Okay, so hydraulic pumps need to go on. And we've done the packs. So taxi light can go on. We've done the transponder. So let's see if we're going to get away with... Oh, something else we'll check just briefly. If you go and look in the FMC, we're going to have a look and just check the elevator trim. So we're going to look in it, and we're going to go to index and then takeoff. And did we actually have CG in here? That's interesting. But yeah, maybe I forgot it earlier. There's our centre of gravity and there's our trim. So 5. And we're going to check this, it's wrong. So what this is doing, if you can stop it from moving, you're setting the elevator trim so when you accelerate down the runway, at the point you rotate, the aeroplane will be in equilibrium. So it won't start trying to push its nose into the floor or trying to raise the nose at an inopportune moment. So just double checking that it's on my procedure. It's a good job it is, and that's why I follow procedures. We're going to go and set the auto brakes as well. So they are right behind the speed brake switch. So we're going to move the view slightly. We're going to set rejected takeoff. So all that does is pressurizes the brakes, ready to put the anchors on in case you want to reject your takeoff. Right, let's go and taxi. So we're going to try and turn our aeroplane around first, and then we'll ask for taxi. So I'm just increasing the throttles very gently and turning very hard left. Seeing as the taxi would, the pushback didn't work, if you remember. So I think we're going to get away with it without damaging the aeroplane. Thankfully it has a fantastic turning circle, look at that. Okay, so we'll now ask ground. We're going for, let's go and refresh our memory, go and look at the flight plan. We want to go to runway 16 left. Ground, United 073, requesting taxi to runway 16 left.
United 073, runway 16 left taxi via Bravo, Charlie.
Taxi via Bravo, Charlie for 16 left, United 073. So Bravo and Charlie's right at the end, and 16 left is this one. So we need to go for Bravo, which is straight across here.
Welcome aboard United Airlines Flight 073. Departing from Seattle Tacoma International
Let's
Airport
open the engines
San
up slightly
Francisco.
again.
Our estimated flight time is 1 hour and 45 minutes. Please pay close attention to the following safety demonstration, as it contains important information for everyone.
So that's saying tensions doing the
Fasten your seatbelts by
cabin
inserting
crew.
a metal tip into the
Oh,
buckle
some lovely
and
weather to
tighten.
fly into.
The seatbelt must remain fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is illuminated. Return your
So let's
seat
see
backs
where we
and
are
try
on the
tables
map.
to the upright position and open your window blinds for takeoff.
So we want to go to Bravo.
Mobile phones
Was
and
there no way
electronic
through that way?
devices
We could have gone
must be
the,
set to
around the
flight
other way,
mode,
couldn't we?
and larger devices
We'll follow
must be
this way.
securely stowed. Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes are prohibited on board. Oxygen masks will drop automatically if needed. Pull the mask firmly, place it over your nose and mouth, and breathe normally. Life vests are located under your seat. Put it on and inflate it only after leaving the aircraft. Floor level lighting will guide you to the nearest exit, which may be behind you. In case of evacuation, leave all personal belongings behind and follow crew instructions immediately. If any electronic device becomes hot or catches fire, inform a crew member immediately. The safety information card is located in your seat pocket. Thank you for your attention.
So we're going for Bravo, remember? Which is the far taxiway, closer to the runway. He's on Bravo by the look of it. Or was it Alpha was the closest? I can't remember now. Let's have a quick look. Alpha was the closest, so we're on Bravo. He's on Alpha.
Ground, Skywest 3275, taxi to the ramp.
Skywest 3275, taxi to parking via November, hold short of runway 34 center, then November, hold short of runway 34 right, then Whiskey.
November, hold short of runway 34 center, then November, hold short of runway 34
So,
right.
full disclosure, I haven't flown this 737 for months. Not since I did the beginner's guide on it.
Delta 2442,
So we'll see how this
16 left,
goes.
taxi via Whiskey Bravo Charlie.
Runway 16 left, taxi via Whiskey Bravo, Charlie Delta 2442.
I will show you a few things on the takeoff roll. Normally for a normal takeoff you go to Toga and there's a little button underneath here. You can't quite see it from the angles I can see this from. That will engage Toga mode. We're going to go and push the throttles forwards because I want to show you that I think the throttles will go beyond 100%. So it's just to warn you, if you do use the throttles manually to accelerate down the runway, that you can kill the aeroplane. Or not kill it, but depends what realism you've got switched on, but it will certainly shorten the life of the engines if you run them above 100% for too long. You'll usually notice that the autopilot will run them around about 96% and no higher than that. So we're looking for Charlie, aren't we, which was the final turn to the left. So there's Bravo. It's going to be the last left turn, isn't it?
United 073, contact tower on 119.9, take care.
There's Charlie. Contacting tower 119.3, 073. Oops. Let's go and get the correct views on the screen. 119.9, correction, 073. Tower United 073 holding short to runway 16 left.
United 073, Seattle Tower, runway 16 left, winds 160 at 3, fly runway heading, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 16 left, fly runway heading, United 073. So we're going onto the runway, so we're going to go and turn the landing lights on. We're also going to turn the strobe lights on, which are over... Where are they? There's the logo light.
Alaska 503, contact ground on 121.7.
Switching to to ground, Alaska 503.
So we can roll out onto the runway. We've already been given clearance for takeoff, so we can just go. But before we do that, I just want to stop for a moment and check my checklist, rather than wing it. So, takeoff notes. Position lights go to strobe or up. Ooh, I've got them in the wrong position. Yeah, strobe and steady. There we go. And landing lights are on or down. That's correct. So we could press toga, or like I said, I'm going to push the throttles forwards manually to see what happens. So push them all the way forwards. Watch these percentages. Okay, so the more modern Boeings don't let you go beyond 100% anymore. That's good to know. Every flight turns into a test flight with me, doesn't it? So you can see we're just watching the indicated airspeed ribbon, waiting for the VR speed to come through, which is at about 140 knots. We are heavy. We've got a full complement of passengers and quite a lot of cargo.
Alaska 503, hold short of runway.
So we rotate no more than 3 degrees a second.
34C, holding short, Alaska 503.
We're in the air.
Skywest 38,
Gear up as soon as we are positive climb rate.
Hold short of 34 center, Skywest 3839.
We can go and arm the auto throttle. We're going to trim the aeroplane so we can let go of it. Oh, what's going on? The aeroplane's broken. Look at that. Or has it? Look at the modes. It's working. Sort of. If we get close enough, the look at that for a rendering issue. Autopilot's on, LNAV's work, or these are the selected or selectable buttons, but this is the important bit. What it's actually doing. So we got a. It's struggling, isn't it? Look at it weaving around. So have we been told to transfer over yet? Yeah. Contacting departures 119.2, United 073. Departures United 073 with you climbing to 6,000 feet. That's funny, isn't it? I'd forgotten that.
073, Seattle departure, radar contact, climb and maintain 7,000 vectors to REMB, then on course.
Climb and maintain 7,000 vectors, then on course, United 073. I didn't mean to do that. Let's go and get rid of the name labels outside.
United 073, climb and maintain flight level 200.
Climbing flight level 200, United 073. I'm going to turn head tracking off to do this. I don't trust it. So what was it again? 200. So they've told us to go straight to 200, yes?
Departure, Skywest 181, 2000 for 4000.
If we fly the SID,
Skywest 181, radar contact,
they might start complaining, so we're going to say level change. Notice when we do that, it gives us a speed here. It goes to N1 because we're not on VNAV anymore, so we have to set the speed. $20,000 is there, and it's not. Oh, it's accelerating to get to the speed, so we can raise the flaps now, and then the aeroplane will climb. I should have raised the flaps a little bit earlier, but it's fine. So what we've done there by doing a level change is told the aeroplane to go straight to flight level 200. Otherwise, the say intentions air traffic controllers will start complaining at us for not doing it in a timely manner. Now, this is where it's going to be fun. I'm not sure how good the autopilot is on this thing. So let's increase the range on the navigation display and see what it does over the next few minutes. Well, this looks pretty good. It's estimating with the green banana the point at which we'll get to 20,000 feet. So the marker there, 10,000 above, just means, yeah, by the time we get to Harrow, we have to be above 10,000. So
SkyWest 181 contact Seattle Center on
we're in the US, so we won't change the barometric pressure on the altimeter until we get to 18,000 feet.
SkyWest 181.
That was funny, wasn't it? That from whatever reason, when we were looking over here, yeah, look, it looks like all the lights are off. And I thought the airplane had gone wrong. But no, it's just the view. It's just a bit rubbish.
United 073, climb and maintain flight level 240.
Climb and maintain flight level 240, United 073. So that will have appeared over here. So it will just keep climbing on a level change until it gets to that altitude, and then it will go to altitude hold all on its own. Once we get through 10,000 feet, we can speed up. Also, as we come through 10,000 feet, we turn the landing lights off. We can already turn off the taxi light, because we don't need it anymore. Will it have disabled the... No. So anti-skid obviously can come off as well. And unlike the earlier Boeings, this doesn't have a 3-position landing gear switch, so we don't have to deal with that. So coming through 10,000 feet very soon, so landing lights go to off, and we can start increasing our target airspeed. So we'll take it out to 280.
Dear guests,
you do need to be careful if you're doing it like this as you get higher. So once you get to about 25,000 feet, you'll go to Mach numbers typically. I think it will transfer over on its own to Mach numbers. Notice it's reduced the climb rate. It will chase the airspeed ahead of the climb rate. So obviously the green banana is shot out because it's focusing on doing 280 knots rather than climbing. And notice it says N1, so that's its climb power. So it's controlling the throttles automatically at the N1. And remember, we could derate that, which would mean we wouldn't climb as quickly when we programmed the performance data.
United 073, climb and maintain flight level 300.
Climb and maintain 300, United 073. So flight levels are hundreds of feet, so 300 with 2 zeros on the end is 30,000. Okay, so when we get to 18,000 feet, we will switch. We just press the middle of the baro knobs and it will go to standard barometric pressure, 29.92 inches. So the game you're playing there, if you don't know, is when you are closer to the ground, you're more interested in the altimeter telling you how far away the ground is accurately. Once you're at altitude, or nearer to cruising altitude, or what they call above the transition altitude, everybody above the transition altitude has their altimeters tuned the same as each other, because you are more interested in your height relative to other aeroplanes. And if all aeroplanes have their altimeters tuned the same as each other when they are at altitude, then you've got far less chance of being at the same altitude of another aeroplane, the the controllers
United 073,
will be able to help you avoid.
126.6.
Contacting Seattle Center 126.6 Virtual 073. Seattle Center, Virtual 073 with you, climbing to flight level 300.
United 073, Seattle Center, good afternoon.
It's got a very relaxing voice. So the aeroplane's behaving itself. The only thing that's done wrong so far, apart from those lights being quite comically invisible unless you're in front of it, the only thing it's really done wrong was the pushback. It's flying fine. So 18,000 feet's just happened. So this has got a box around it to illustrate that we need to do something. So we say STD, and we have to do it both sides. So that means standard barometric pressure, which means we have our, as I said, we have our altimeters now calibrated the same as other aircraft that are above the transition altitude.
United 073, climb and maintain flight level 350.
Climb and maintain flight level 350, United 073. And that's done. So if we increase the range, so let's go and have a little look on the map and see where we are. So we're following the standard instrument departure. We're about to join the airway down towards San Francisco. Now I'm going to try and remember how you can change this screen. It's down here, isn't it? Oh no, that's this one. Okay. So how does the co-pilot change his screen? There we go. What can we give him? Oh, it doesn't quite work, look. This is supposed to be influencing this screen. We've got it selected to right. Okay, so if we go and put legs on his screen, it should show the same as that one. That's good. Or we can show the progress screen. It's quite nice to have progress on one and legs on the other, because it gives you different data. So just looking at the display down here, so you can see on the legs page you've got the indicated airspeed and the flight level that's programmed on the flight plan. If you go to route data, you can also see the ETA at each waypoint. Now we haven't got any wind data. If we do a wind request, we can send that via the modern systems. So it's doing it, and it should populate anytime soon. There we go. So then it just gives the system more data to work with for the estimates. So it can calculate the fuel burn, it can calculate the ETA, and so on and so forth. Also, while we're at altitude, we can turn on TARA. We should have done it earlier, really. I've been busy chatting. So this means that should the aircraft, when it's in autopilot, encounter another aeroplane within this dotted circle, you'll notice when you zoom in, that dotted circle gets bigger.
SkyWest 181, descend and maintain.
So if another aeroplane were to come into this, the autopilot, when TCAS is in TARA mode, will react.
SkyWest 181.
So it will take avoiding action. But that does mean you need to be on hand to deal with the aftermath of that. Also, obviously you'll hear TCAS going nuts and all the warnings flashing on. We're looking okay so far. So I turned the landing lights off. I turned the taxi lights off. Should we go and let the passengers get up and wander about? So, seatbelts off. Should we go and tell the cabin crew? You can tell the passengers they can get up now.
Ladies and gentlemen, have just climbed through 10,000 feet. The seatbelt sign is currently on, and we kindly ask that you remain seated with your seatbelt
it's not
fastened
intelligent
until
enough to
further
do that.
notice.
Oh well.
Cabin service will commence shortly. Thank you for your cooperation.
Is that the cabin crew politely telling me, no, we're not going to let them do that? The other trick we can do with say intentions is ask our lovely co-pilot, I think I've got it set as Amanda's voice, we can ask her to take over radio comms during the middle part of the flight. Hi Amanda, can you take over radio communications for a while?
Sure, Jonathan. I'll handle the radios from here.
So now whenever we have to do a sector change, then Amanda will deal with it for us. So we don't have to worry. She'll change the radios for us and do the communications. She won't fly the aeroplane for us. Okay, so we're in cruise, or coming up towards cruise. We're at 26,000 feet, another 10,000 feet to go. Notice as we get up into the higher, the thinner air, that speed limit for the aeroplane is getting closer to our target. So if we wanted to, we could just go back to VNAV to get there. So if we press VNAV, notice the speed goes out. And it's not far away from the target we were looking for, look. So that was the VNAV target airspeed, which is why I kind of went for 280 knots, because I knew that would be the case, just from experience. So the VNAV profile, obviously, if you come back to legs, you can see it's got Mach 0.795. Obviously it's not showing it here, but it will be showing it here. It could go a little bit quicker, look, if it wanted to, but for some reason it's not targeting 0.795, which is interesting to me. Maybe it won't until we get to 350. So if you can have different information on here, by the way, so we can go and show weather. We can show waypoints that are nearby. We can show the VOR stations that are nearby.
Delta 2551, descend and maintain
we can show
flight level
airports that are nearby.
260, cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland.
It's pretty good.
Down to flight level
I'm not sure terrain will show much of
cleared for
value.
the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland, Delta 2551.
SkyWest 4043, descend and maintain flight level 240, cleared for the 2-door-2 arrival into Capital.
Anyway.
Down to flight level 240. Cleared for the 2-door-2 arrival into Capital, SkyWest 4043.
Just checking around, lever position, so flaps are up, speed brakes are off, throttles are on the auto throttle, so we don't have to touch them, they're running at 93%. N2 is running 109, that's mad. Why is it running so quickly? That seems wrong. That's enough to wreck the aeroplane. Again, this might be a 737 MAX thing because this is the free version, obviously, so maybe that's not quite right. It does seem a little odd, doesn't it, that it would run the engines as a matter of course at 109% while on VNAV. That means the gas turbines are running at 109, and yet the turbofans are only at 93%.
WestJet
Doesn't add up, does
1723,
it?
descend and maintain flight level 280, cleared for the Grizz 8 arrival into Vancouver.
So engine bleeds seem to be off. Let's go and have a look.
Cleared for the Grizz 8 arrival
I'm just reading
into
the...
Vancouver, WestJet 1723.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've missed that. That should have been on my checklist. Or maybe it was, and I just, while I was talking, I didn't do it. This aeroplane, I heard a very good description once of some of the freebie aeroplanes. That they are a bit like, you know, the child's toys you can get for a steering wheel and a gear stick and a indicator sticks that you can put on the back of a car seat. So the children in the back of the car can pretend to be driving the car, but the switches don't actually do anything. That's kind of what some of the switches in the free aeroplanes are like. They don't actually do anything. They light up, and like you just saw, we had no serious problems caused by the air bleeds from the engines being off. But that does mean, I'm just checking my procedure here, did I not? I think I've got it missing. They may have updated it. That's interesting. But there's like other bits and pieces we've spotted as well, you know, so the modes for the MFD, if you switch it to the right one, it's still half the buttons only work on this screen. There's all sorts of little bits and pieces like that, but it doesn't mean you can't fly the plane and have fun with it. It just means you're not going to study for an exam with it. Something that's worth knowing about is this little table of numbers down here is super useful during descent to give you your airspeeds to target for the different flap levels. Yeah, I think one of the other airplanes that all the buttons are clickable and the knobs you can turn and you can press, press everything, is the Tornado. And they freely admit in the documentation for it, yeah, the buttons are there, all the switches work and the knobs work, but they're not wired up to anything. So if you were wanting to just use it as a procedures trainer, you could. You just have to be aware that they're not actually going to do what the real things do in the aeroplane. And a lot of that is for things like the sensor suite. In a military jet, for example, the sensor suite, the terrain following radar, all those specialist systems that a simulator wouldn't have a chance of simulating. Or not without a serious amount of extra code. Okay, we're coming up towards our cruise altitude finally. Should we have a look on the tablet and see what it gives us? Because I've never really delved around this too much. So if we go to aeroplane, this is obviously where you can get to your flight performance to refill the fuel tanks. There's checklists. They're okay. They're not the best checklists ever. Some of the things are in the wrong order. There's something's missing. So there's the maps. So if you do want to use this, you can go. Oh, now we've taken off, it's a bit more difficult to populate it. When you're on the ground, could we do it via Planner? Let's try it. So if we go and open a browser and go to planner.flightsimulator.com, and we'll go to Simbrief and we'll steal this flight plan, Control C, and we'll paste it into the box at planner.flightsimulator.com and save. And there's our flight plan. And then we will save this to the cloud. So just say save new plan. So then we can close that browser. And then we can come back into the airplane and we can open the flight plan from the web. And there's the one we've just saved. So we'll download it. And there we go. So at least you can visualize it. So the trick that I didn't do when we started the airplane, I programmed the airplane by hand. What I could have done is said send to avionics, and it would have done it for me. It wouldn't have done everything, but it would have done a lot of it. So the programming of the route, it would have handled that. I would have still have had to go on and do the SID and the star and everything else, and the performance data, but it would have done the route. So if you've got like a transatlantic route that's got loads of legs, that would help.
The snack and beverage service. We have some popular items from our menu, including our signature pretzels and refreshing beverages.
Let's have a look. Can we have...
United Airlines shop will be available for your convenience.
So the default plan just shows you a white screen. It's a shame that this hasn't got Navigraph integration, isn't it? It's better than nothing, though. I don't like that that's not vector, though. It's a bitmap, isn't it? I guess that's because it's the white version. If we go to terrain and come back, yeah, that's going to be vectors. Yeah, you can see it is. Although, saying that, it pixelates, look. Very strange. So something this does have, people don't realise, it has the Lufthansa Systems charts built into it. So if we go and look at our arrival into... No, this has got the wrong place listed. So let's go and search for... We're going to KSFO, aren't we? So then if we go to charts for KSFO, approach charts, and we're coming in, let's go and remind ourselves, the Bodega 4 star, and then runway 28 right. So if we go the standard terminal arrival charts for 28 right, so this will filter it down, there's Bodega 4. So it's got the Lufthansa Systems charts built into it. So there they are, look. So you can figure out what you're doing. We're doing the Melback transition, remember? So we'll be coming in along there and coming in towards the bay. So it's got these in for free. So this is not Navigraph, this is the built-in Lufthansa Systems. If you scroll down into the bottom of the chart, you can see it say the Lufthansa Systems charts. So we can obviously come back out of there and we can go and look at the approach chart for 28 right. And we can look ILS for 28 right and go and have a look at the approach chart, so we can zoom in on that. You can zoom in on the sim as well, of course. So we'll be coming in. Remember, we're coming in from a funny angle because we've got a discontinuity in our flight plan, remember. So we'll be asking for vectors. I think we're coming right over the top of the airfield, and then we have to come out over here to come back in again. But that gives you obviously your ILS frequency, 28 right, 111.7. It's pretty good, isn't it? For free as well. If you're used to Jeppesen charts, obviously you're probably going to be happier with Navigraph. But for free, you can't really go wrong. So I'm being
Center, United 1230, flight level 270.
Being asked in the live stream, on the free version of the Boeing 737 MAX, does it have the future
Alaska
of Blue
1159,
Range
descend and
ring?
maintain flight level 260, cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland.
What do you mean by the future of
Down
the
to
Blue
flight
Range
level
ring?
260.
Actually, we could look at fixes
Cleared
if anybody hasn't seen those.
Arrival into Portland, Alaska,
Just for a bit of fun.
1159.
So let's increase the range. If I can get to it without the banner popping up. So there's our destination. What we're going to do is press the fix button. We're going to put in our reference for our fix. So we're going to go KSFO, which is the ICAO code for San Francisco. We're going to put that on the fix field. Now we can put in a radial, a slash, and a distance. If we put in a slash and a distance, it will draw a circle on the map for us. So based on KSFO being our point of reference, we can say slash 100, and it will draw a radius ring at 100 nautical miles from KSFO. And there it is. If you wanted a line drawn from KSFO, for whatever reason, and the radius ring, you just put both numbers in. So say if we wanted the runway direction, so 280 slash, and then say 200 miles. It's good, isn't it? So you can draw all over the map. You can obviously, your point of reference for your fix can be anywhere, and you can have 4 of these, so you could go and do another page, put a different fix in, and draw something else on the map that's relative to it. So it's for your own use, really, for whatever you want to do. I'm going to go and clear that, otherwise it will annoy us to death. Can we delete it? Oh, we have to press delete and then delete the fix and everything vanishes. I just thought I'd show you that as a bit of fun. The other thing you can do, or you should be able to do, so we're approaching Famuk. So let's say we wanted to put a custom waypoint in for whatever reason. I'll reduce the range on this so we can see it a bit more easily. So we'll do it in relation to this Firefly.
Southwest 1383, descend and maintain flight level 270.
This Firefly
waypoint.
So what we're going to do is, after Felix, we're going to insert a new waypoint, and we're going to do it relative to where Firefly is. Okay. So we're going to type in FRFLY, and then we're going to type in a bearing from Firefly. So bearing in mind we're heading south almost at the moment. So if we went north,
Center on 121.35.
oh, you're going to hear Amanda talk now.
Seattle Center, Southwest 1383, flight level 400.
Switching to Seattle Center on 121.35.
There she goes.
United
So
073.
we've typed in the waypoint. Say if we went north, so it's going to be this sort of direction. We could then type
flight level
0. Oh, we'll put 3 digits just to keep it happy that is the bearing, and then the distance. So if that's 80 miles, say if we said 30 miles, and we'll put that after Felix. So if we put it on top of Firefly, it should push Firefly down. There you go. Look.
Flight level 350. United 073.
So it's put in a custom waypoint. It's called it FERF01. At the bearing and distance we asked for. Obviously if we executed that becomes part of the flight plan, so we end up with this dogleg. But the reason for doing it, obviously, you can create custom waypoints related to any waypoints that are real. Okay, so I'm going to erase that custom waypoint, so it's not actually going to happen. I just thought I'd show you that as a bit of a fun thing to do. Can the aircraft navigation display show you the blue range ring on the display? I don't think it does that in the simulator, not here anyway. It will do that in the world map page, but I'm not aware that it would ever do that in the FMC. The range ring you're talking about, I think, is a feature of the world map in the simulator, not in the aeroplane. You could always draw a range ring around wherever you are based on how much fuel you've got. So you could look at your fuel that's left, you could look at your burn rate, and you could then figure out the maths, just to multiply it up to find out if we're going this speed for this amount of time, we're going to go that far. And then you could draw a fix. So just do a radius ring for that amount of miles, and that will draw you that distance on the chart that you're going to get to from where you are. Obviously you have to pick a reference that that's close to you. So you could do that. But yeah, so I think these airplanes, okay, it's a little bit like we said earlier, some of the switches and buttons don't do what they should, and it does mean you can get away with more than you should be able to probably. But it seems to work okay, doesn't it? It's flying the route. Of course, this is famous last words. We're getting to approach and it will go horrendously out of control. And I'll have to go manual or something. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine. Famous last words. Let's have a look at the nav radio. Of course, there's no page on the FMC on this aeroplane. The 7.3, even on the Max, has got some really ancient hardware in it. So you can see the nav radios down here. So if we go across and have a look, we've got the ILS frequencies. So 110.5 is the active frequency. Let's go check that. So if we go and look at Navigraph and go and look at runway 28 right at San Francisco, it's got 111.7. So we will need to put in here 11170 and then transfer that to active. And it's already over here, look, transfer it to active. So that means that when we get to the other end, we'll be good to go. We'll need to get the courses set up for the ILS as well. We won't need this for ages yet. We're doing it way too early because we may get different instructions once we get there for a different runway even. So the actual direction we need, look, is 284 degrees. So you would set this, and this means that then your navigation display will be showing all the correct data. But again, like I said, normally you wouldn't do this until you're much closer. Okay. So I'm going to leave the airplane chugging along on its own for a bit. I'm going to go make a coffee. Hopefully it won't go wildly out of control while I'm away, but that has been known.
Southwest 127, descend and maintain flight level 250. Cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland.
So there's the flight plan. Look, you can see we're at altitude. LittleNavMap's a little bit simplified in what it shows in terms of a profile. Though saying that, look, I haven't got the correct performance file loaded anyway.
Cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland.
Yeah, it's more or less there, look. So it's just a parabolic curve instead of a straight line, which would never happen in the real world. Notice you can descend more quickly than you can climb.
Flight level 260, cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland.
But that's pretty accurate, look. It's anticipated top of descent is right there. There are some constraints, look, on the way down. So Millback above 29,000, Joan above and below, so we've got constraints. We won't worry about that though for a while. We're going to be en route for a little while yet. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to go make a coffee and I'll be back well before we get to top of descent. So I'm going to turn my microphone off and you get a rest from me rabbiting on. See you in a few minutes.
Center, Alaska 1302, flight level 360. Alaska 1302, radar contact.
Seattle Center, Horizon Air 2271, 16,000.
Horizon Air 2271, radar contact. Horizon Air 2029, descend and maintain flight level 250, cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland.
Descending to flight level 250, cleared for the Timbers 3 arrival into Portland, Horizon Air 2029.
United 073, expect the BDEGA 4 arrival. I'll call your descent in roughly 20 minutes. Say the word if you want to descend sooner.
Expect the BDEGA 4 arrival. Awaiting descent instructions in approximately 20 minutes. United 073.
United 073, contact Seattle Center on 127.55.
Contacting Seattle Center on 127.55. United 073. Seattle Center, United 073. Good afternoon, flight level 350.
United 073, Seattle Center, good afternoon. United 073, contact Oakland Center on 134.15.
Contacting Oakland Center on 134.15, United 073. Oakland Center, United 073. Good afternoon, flight level 350.
Hi all, I'm just turning off the fuel warning light. It's because the center tanks are emptied.
United 073, Oakland Center.
Not a problem. So there's a question in the live stream from Dan. Have you ever tried Beyond ATC? If so, what are your thoughts? Yes, I have. I have bought Beyond ATC. I've used it now and again. I've recorded a video playing around with it ages and ages ago. It's okay. It's very much more on rails, and I know it's improved, but it's still very much more scripted than Say Intentions. Say Intentions is much more free in what you can do. So you can literally go and ask the controller anything you like, really. And if it's within the realm of the things they can make possible, they will make it happen. So you could ask for vectors to so-and-so, you know, you could switch from an IFR flight to a VFR, or you can switch from a VFR to an IFR flight plan and file the flight plan in the middle of the VFR flight plan, over the radio. And they'll file it for you and give you clearance and continue on with your air traffic services. It's very good. You can deviate from an IFR plan, for example, and say, I want to go and tour this city for a bit. Can I let you know when I'm back? And they'll say, yep, get on with it. Let us know when you want to resume. You could do all that sort of stuff. It's really, really good. Also, obviously the huge deal with Say Intentions is it's not just you in the air. It's the other aircraft in the air around you. So I've turned them down a bit so it's not too busy on this flight. But if we go and have a look in LittleNavMap, for example, Windows, Open Window Layout, Default. And if we go and turn on, so these are aircraft being pushed into the world by Say Intentions. And we will hear them over the radio, so you'll hear the crew talking to the same air traffic services crew, or sorry, staff that we are talking
Center,
to.
United 1230, flight level 310.
United 1230, radar contact.
That's him, look. So that's just as I was saying it, that's exactly what happened. We can hear him talking to air traffic services. So that's the huge advantage of Say Intentions. It makes this thing called, they call it the living world. If we sit up in the cockpit a bit, we can see the mountains below us. So whereabouts are we? We're just coming down. We've still got a fair way to go. So about 100 miles until we're into the star. If you look at the descent profile, it's just a nice way of visualizing it here in LittleNavMap. You can see we're coming along, we're going to start descending in between Found and Mulbeck, and then start our way down, and then we level out at Cork, and then we're going to go for vectors, I guess, because it's going to become interesting after that. Anyway, I'm going to step away again for a few minutes because we're not quite at San Francisco yet. Let's go and tidy some of this up. What windows don't we need open? We'll leave the approach chart. You should see we're just up here. Here we go. Look, we're coming down towards the waypoint, so we'll start descending just after Found. And then this will take us in as far as here, and then it's up to us. Oh, sorry, as far as here. So we'll be overhead San Francisco, and then we'll have some sort of teardrop shape to do, but we'll get vectors for that. Which would be quite a good way of showing you there's the big difference between Beyond ATC and Say Intentions. We're going to basically run off the end of our flight plan and then ask for vectors. and it will have no problem in doing that. So it will look at where we are, it will figure out the route to get us to the approach and guide us through it. You can see this aeroplane isn't tremendously good at holding speed. It's pumping the throttles every so often. Let's just check the volumes. Okay, so I'm going to turn the microphone back off for a bit. When we get in about 80 miles time, I will be back.
United 1230, descend and maintain flight level 240. Cleared for the BDJ4 arrival into San Francisco.
Descending to flight level 240. Cleared for the BDJ4 arrival into San Francisco, United 1230.
United 073, cleared BDEGA 4 into San Francisco. Whenever you'd like, descend and maintain flight level 260.
Cleared BDEGA 4 into San Francisco. Descend and maintain flight level 260. United 073.
Just make sure this is working. Okay, I'm going to take over from Amanda now. Hi Amanda, I'll take over the radio communications now.
All right, Jonathan, you're in charge of the radios now.
So, as we just heard from Air Traffic Services, Oakland Centre called us and they've cleared us down to flight level 260 on the BDEGA 4. Oakland United 073 descending flight level 260 for the BDEGA 4 into San Francisco. So we can do this with VNav if we want to. So it's obviously not going to do anything at the moment. Or we could just do a level change to get there, or we could use vertical speed to get there. It really doesn't matter. You do need to be aware if you use vertical speed, the auto throttle might not be able to accomplish what you're asking it to do. Whereas if we just do a level change, it will get down there all on its own. It's going to measure our current speed as the marker for speed, so it won't slow us down.
073, descend and maintain flight level 230.
So
Ladies and gentlemen,
telling us to come down to
we have
230 now.
approach to San Francisco. At this time, we kindly ask that you return to your seats, stow your tray tables, and fasten your seat belts. Please note that the lavatories are now unavailable for use. Thank you for your cooperation.
So let's go and bring the range down. Descending flight level 230, United 073. So we'll get down to the point on the flight plan where it says vectors, and we will ask for vectors. So if you go remember, if we go next page, there we go. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So it brings us over the top of San Francisco Airport, and then it says vectors in our flight plan, so we're not going to guess. What we may end up doing is a direct to Seppium, but we'll see.
Cleared for the BDEGA 4 arrival into San Francisco.
Descending to flight level 200. Cleared for the BDEGA 4 arrival into San Francisco, SkyWest 5539.
Should we go and give the range, some more range to the co-pilot screen? They can hardly see where they're going. There we go. So we're descending now.
073, descend and maintain 16,000 feet. Altimeter 3025.
Descend 16,000 feet. Copy altimeter, United 073. So they're basically clearing us down further and further, even though we're not there yet. So you can see the target has appeared, and we are in level change mode. You will see here there's a little marker appearing. It means we're below the descent profile. So we didn't need to be descending just yet. Here's top of descent, look. So we are quite a long way. We're 6,000 feet below where it thought we were going to be. So it's not a big problem. It's just, you know, versus what it had projected, we are below that. Which means we'll get more time to do things because we'll already be lower. So not in a race to descend. Okay, So we need to change to the local barometric pressure when we get to 18,000 feet. So let's go and find that out, shall we? So information on San Francisco, open the airport, go to weather, and it's going to be 30.25 inches. So we wait until 18,000, we go back to, or switch off standard mode, and make sure we got 30.25 inches. We've already got the baro set to inches, not hectopascals. We have to remember to do both this one. Actually, when we went to standard, we never did this one, did we? So, does it have a button to do it? Yes, it does. So this was reading the wrong altitude throughout the whole flight. It's not a problem though. It's the backup. It's in case these ones fail. Okay, so you can start to see the bay out there. So there's Marin headlands. There's the city. We're getting there slowly. Or no, actually, yeah, because that's Point Reyes, isn't it? Down there. Yeah, I was just doubting myself then for a moment. It's so easy to get confused. Yeah. So I'm being asked in the live stream comments, is the 737 anywhere close to the X-Plane Zebo? That's a difficult one. It certainly looks a lot better because it's obviously a lot more modern, so you know, you can tell looking around it looks like a photograph, which the Zebo doesn't. But in terms of system fidelity, it's nowhere near it. That said, the fly-by-wire Airbus for Flight Simulator, for the PC version at least,
United 073, contact Oakland Center
is very, very good.
975.
Contacting Oakland Center, 134.975, United 073, good day. Oakland Center, United 073, descending flight level 160 on the Bodega 4 approach into San Francisco.
United 073, Oakland Center, good afternoon.
So, should I put some head tracking on for a bit? So we can actually look like we're in the cockpit for real. It's quite cool, isn't it, head tracking? There's a real issue with some aeroplanes. When you look sideways, they start glitching and the frame rate drops. I'm not sure what causes it. It's very odd. Something we haven't looked at yet. This has a head-up display. You can see it there. Look. I'm sure it's got controls for, yeah, there we go, brightness. That's better. So obviously if we go and get a bit closer, we can see the whole display. It's collimated, so obviously if you tilt your head away, it works properly. Anyway, I don't like it. Sorry for being a bit of a fuddy-duddy, but I like looking outside and looking at the instruments in their normal places.
United 073, contact NorCal approach on 128.325.
Contacting NorCal approach 128.325, United 073, good day. NorCal approach, United 073 with you, descending to flight level 160 on the Bodega 4 arrival into San Francisco. So we just come through, you'll notice it's lit up on the standard.
United 073, NorCal approach, good afternoon, San Francisco, altimeter 3025. Expect the ILS runway 28 right approach into San Francisco.
Altimeter 3025, expecting the 28 right approach into San Francisco, United 073. So we need to go and change that to 3025, which we're about to do. We're nearly right, it's not too far.
United 073, descend and maintain 7,000 feet.
Descending 7,000 feet to United 073. That done, so our target is 7,000, we're descending down through 16,000. We've set the altimeter as we came down through the transition altitude to use the local barometric pressure that we've just been told.
Southwest 4375, contact Oakland Tower on 118.3.
So we've got vectors coming up, look, so we'll do a left turn, fly through, and then we've got vectors. So let's get the speed down to 250 now, because we're going to get to 10,000 feet fairly soon. We want to give it some time to get there. So if we want to help it, we can obviously use the spoilers.
UPS 2950, contact Oakland Tower on 118.3.
Except it's using the spoilers to descend faster. It's annoying, isn't it? So I've removed the spoilers. It is bleeding the speed off.
Direct Ponk. Cleared for the ILS runway 28 left approach. Descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
Descending to 6,000, cleared for the ILS 28 left approach, Alaska 777.
SkyWest 5539, direct C-pin. Cleared for the ILS runway 28 right approach. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet until established.
Descending to 3,000, cleared for the ILS 28 right approach.
So when we come through here, we're going to ask for vectors, yeah? So now we're going pretty much the speed we want. We're going to throw the spoilers out to get ourselves down a bit quicker. Yeah, that you can see this is where this airplane is not tremendously realistic. The way the pitch reacted then. So we'll see how we go.
Southwest 1565, contact Oakland Tower on 118.3.
So we can go flaps 1 at 250 knots, flaps 2, flaps 5 at 250.
Speedbird 2 X-ray, contact Oakland Center on 125.85.
Flaps 15 at 200 knots. So it's worth keeping an eye on these just for a memory of, so as you come in, let's bring your speed down.
Foxtrot runway 28 right approach, descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
So you're looking at sort of, yeah, 150 knots-ish for approach.
United 538.
United 538, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
So coming down to 10,000 feet, we're going to go and turn the landing lights on. Wrong one.
United 538.
Let's press shift and space just to straighten our view up. There's the Golden Gate Bridge down there, there's the city. Obviously San Francisco, if I could press the head tracking button and look around the pillar, the runway's over there. We're going to fly a loop around it though.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now on final approach to San Francisco. Please turn off all electronic devices and stow them until we arrive at the gate.
We're making the left turn.
Your seats are in the full upper upright position and your seat belts are fastened. The weather in San Francisco is currently 17 degrees Celsius with clear visibility. Our assigned gate is Terminal 2, D15. Thank you for your cooperation.
United 073, speed 250, please.
Reducing speed 250, United 073. This is the 73 causing this. I'm having to set a target lower to get to 250. So we're at 7,000 feet anyway. Let's turn the head tracking off so we can react quickly to everything. So we're coming in at 7,000 feet. We've got the landing lights on. We've got the barometric pressure done. We're in altitude hold now at 7,000. So we need to get vectors from, let's bring the range down a bit. Oh, actually no, it will disappear off the screen. Vectors from here
Delta
to
442,
the 28 right approach.
Lead, cleared for the GLS runway 28 right approach. Descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
Down to 6,000, cleared for
That's
the GLS
else.
28 right approach, Delta 442.
Approach United 073, approaching bricks, requesting vectors for approach for 28 right into San Francisco.
United 073, descend and maintain 5,000 feet, turn left heading 115 vectors for the ILS runway 28 right approach.
Descend 5,000 feet, turn left to heading 115 for the 28 right approach 073. And we have to do a level change to get down to 5,000.
Delta 442, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
120.5 for Delta 442.
So we'll just blindly follow their instructions and see what they say. They'll probably turn us left again in a moment. It can sometimes be quite interesting, the vectors it gives you. So let's bring the speed down a bit further. So below 250 knots we can go for the first stages of flaps, which we are going to do. Flaps are in transit to 1 degree. And 2 degrees. There we go. And let's bring the range down on the navigation display. The terrain, oh, it's showing bits of airports around the place, isn't it? There's Oakland over there. So what's it going to do? Is it going to overfly us? So you can see there's other aeroplanes below us, look, coming in on approach. So I'm going to turn TCAS back over to TA mode, so it doesn't accidentally go and
United
react.
2633, direct Ponk. Cleared for the GLS runway 28 left approach. Descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
Down to 6,000, cleared for the GLS 28 left approach, United 2633.
So are they going to put us on some sort of teardrop to come in on the approach maybe? Flight plan means nothing to us now, we're just on vectors and instructions for altitude. Wait and see what happens. Do as we're told. So these aeroplanes are coming round, look, on the approaches. One of them's just vanished off the radar. I wonder if I should report it. Has he gone in the water? There's more on approach coming in. If we look on the LittleNavMap, you'll be able to see them. Yeah, look.
Skywest 3707.
That's the one directly underneath us.
134.15.
Here. So if I reduce the range again.
134.15 is Skywest 3707.
That's
United 2633, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
this whole queue of Uniteds over here, look.
0.5 for United 2633.
If we increase the range, you can see them here.
American 2446, direct Xyled, cleared for the GLS runway 28 right approach, descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
Descending to 6,000, cleared for the GLS 28 right approach, American 2446.
So did he give us the 115 degree heading to get us over the top of Kepping?
Contact San Jose Tower on 124.0.
Let's see what happens. See if they give us a teardrop instruction.
In Southwest 263.
So I'm anticipating a heading change.
American 2446, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
120.5 for American 2446. Good day.
United 2047, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
Over to San Francisco Tower on 120.5 by United 2047.
United 2633, direct Ponk, cleared for the GLS runway 28 left approach, descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
Descending to 6,000, cleared for the GLS 28 left approach, United 2633.
So what are they doing? Are we going to get another instruction very soon? End up over San Jose at this rate.
Southwest 2156, contact Oakland Center on 134.15.
134.15 in Southwest 2156.
Skywest 3707, contact Oakland Center on 134.15.
So you can see there's the ILS
134.15
28, right?
Skywest
It's just coming into view.
Delta 823, direct Xyled,
And
cleared
it's
for
gone
the
out of range
RNAV
of it.
Zulu runway 28 right approach, descend and maintain altitude 6,000 feet until established.
Descending to 6,000, cleared for the RNAV Zulu, 28 right approach, Delta 823.
Southwest 1096, contact San Jose Tower on 124.0.
124.0 for Southwest 1096, good day.
Should we be really flippant and ask if they've forgotten us?
2,000 for 4,000.
Skywest 3903, radar contact, climb and maintain 11-1000.
Climb 11-1000, Skywest 3903.
NorCal approach, United 073, have you forgotten us? Let's see what they say.
United 073, number continue approach, maintain 5,000 feet, turn left heading 0905 vectors for the ILS runway 28 right approach.
Turning 0905 vectors for the 28 right, sorry, approach 073. So what's he done? Let's have a look. We're now flying the reciprocal. More or less. Are they going to send us off? Oh, they're doing this, look.
United 073, descend and maintain 4,000 feet, turn left heading 285.
Descend 4,000 feet, turn left heading 285, 073. We're reversing direction, we're coming straight in.
SkyWest 3903, contact Oakland Center on 134.15.
Over to Oakland Center on 134.15G, SkyWest 3903.
United 1652, direct sit-by, cleared for the RNAV runway 28 left approach, descend and maintain altitude 4,000 feet until established.
Down to 4,000, cleared for the RNAV 28 left approach, United 1652.
SkyWest 5552, contact Oakland Center on 134.15.
134.15 for SkyWest 5552.
So let's step in. Are they going to
SkyWest 5715, direct sit-by, cleared for the RNAV Yankee runway 28 right approach, descend and maintain altitude 4,000 feet until established.
What we can do is pick up
United 073, proceed direct C-pin, descend
there we
and maintain
go.
3,000 feet until established on the localizer, cleared for the ILS runway 28 right approach.
Descend 3,000 feet, direct to C-pin, cleared for the 28 right ILS approach, sorry, United 073. Oh, I must sound like a lunatic laughing down the radio at them. It's just, I'm happy that we got it right. So we can do LNAV to go on our flight plan direct to C-pin now. We're descending to 3,000 feet. We should pick up the ILS very soon. There we go, we've got a diamond for the localizer. Has shown up. We can start bringing the speed down. We've got quite a long way to come in now. So, I mean, that's 10, 15, about 18 miles out, look. So we'll leave it at 220 knots for the moment.
SkyWest 5715, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
So I'm sure people will be interested in how good the guidance is.
SkyWest 5715.
So what I'm going to do is engage approach mode.
1770, contact Oakland
Will it
Tower
let
on
me?
118.3.
Not yet, because we can't see. So you can't pre-engage it. Interestingly, it's got both autopilots lit up. I didn't do that, I only selected one of them. So if we put this on, when we get a bit closer, oh, is the sim going to break? It just stuttered the sound, didn't it? No, it seems to be okay. I'll stay in the cockpit, I won't second guess it. So we're going to take control of speed ourselves. So let's bring the speed down to 180 now. We should be fairly near to the right range to get the landing system working.
United 073, contact San Francisco Tower on 120.5.
And approach mode's working, so it's going to jump across on its own. Contacting San Francisco Tower 120.5, United 073. San Francisco Tower, United 073 with you, 3,000 feet engaged on the ILS approach for runway 28 right. So yeah, we can see the glide slope and the localizer have shown up now. and they're showing up on the approach display.
United 073 San Francisco Tower, roger, continue approach runway 28 right.
Continuing approach 28 right, United 073. So there's the runway down there. We've got, I'm just looking, yeah, so if we straighten ourselves up in the cockpit, then the runway's right in front of us. So let's go and get the gear down.
San Francisco Tower, United 325, established on the
Speed down
RNAV
to
runway
final
28
speeds.
left.
So we said about 150, didn't we? And then we'll start bringing the flaps in.
Skywest 5425, hold short of runway 19 right.
19R, holding short, Skywest 5425.
United 073, winds 340 at 4, runway 28 right, cleared to land.
Clear to land 28 right, United 073.
Holding short of runway 19 right, United 2464.
So we're now commanded full flaps. We're at the correct speed, so we can bring this down even further. I'm just looking at the minimums. So about 130 would be about right. Just keep it 10 knots away from the
United
limit.
1871 heavy, welcome to San Francisco. Contact ground on 121.8. Citation 6 Victor Papa, hold short of runway 10 left.
So if we go and
holding short of runway 10 left, citation 6 Victor Papa.
Why should we really let the airplane have all the fun?
American 2446, hold short of runway 10 right.
Holding short of runway 10 right, American 2446.
So we're descending on the glide slope now, so approach mode has kicked in. Showing glide slope here.
Holding short, Skywest 5425.
I think this, as I said earlier, this automatically engaged both autopilots, so it should pick up flare and auto land mode all on its own. Let's see if it does. So this should change if it's realistic. There it goes. Flare and roll out. So it would auto land itself if we let it. I'm going to disengage the autopilot.
Hold short of runway 19 right.
So this is now me.
Holding short of runway 19 right, United 2464.
So we're going to keep an eye on these markers.
San Francisco Tower, United 2409.
And obviously we've got visuals.
Runway 28 right.
I won't touch the throttles, leave the auto throttle on, and we'll just fly it down the pipe, basically.
Citation 6 Victor Papa, hold short of runway 10 left.
So we can see the PAPI lights as well now.
Short of runway 10 left, citation
Zoom this
6
in
Victor
slightly
Papa.
so you can see it a bit better.
American
And you can see the marker here, so we're going low.
Right.
Hold short of 10 right, American 2446.
Skywest 5425.
So we're off slightly to the left, you can see that
right.
here. It's gone slightly low.
Hold short of 19 right,
You can see that on the
Skywest
PAPIs.
5425.
So we'll just raise the nose gently. The auto throttle should maintain speed.
Hold short of runway 19 right.
19R, holding short, United 2464.
You know the one where you hit the trim and you realise you really shouldn't have. There's an old pilot, an old retired pilot told me don't fly the plane on the trim. If it's slightly out and you're on finals, just fly it. Use stick pressure, or yoke pressure in this case.
United 2464, hold short of runway 19 right.
So we've gone way low, look, that's just the aeroplane being a bit rubbish.
United 2464.
And me not keeping an eye on it. So, getting there.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
San Francisco Tower, United 2019,
And we're
established
down.
on the RNAV runway 28
Bit
left.
bobbly, but we got away with it. Can I use the reversers in this thing? Yes, I
United
can.
2019, roger.
So reversers come off about 80 knots, so, and then go back to wheel brakes at that point.
United 2464, hold short of runway 19 right.
We'll just get off the runway. So
holding short.
asking us to go to ground. Yeah, 121.8. Going to ground 121.8, United 073. So we just get past this line.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to San Francisco. Did you know that San Francisco is home to the famous Golden Gate Bridge, which is often shrouded in fog? Thank you for flying with United Airlines. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
San Francisco ground, United 073, just departing runway 28 right, requesting taxi to the gate.
You a pleasant stay in the city. The local time is 4:10 p.m. For those with connections, please take note. Flight 234 to Los Angeles.
United 073, taxi to runway 28 right via Tango Alpha 6 Bravo.
To New York. Departs at 5:30 p.m. from gate 21.
Tango Alpha 6 Bravo. Alpha. I don't think it understood me, did it? San Francisco ground, United 073, requesting taxi to the gate. Yeah, it misheard me, and maybe I didn't hold the button down properly.
United 073, taxi to Terminal 2, Gate D15 via Tango Alpha 6 Bravo. Good day.
Taxi via Tango Alpha 6 Bravo, United 073. So, Terminal 2, Gate D15 via Tango Alpha 6 Bravo. Now, this is where you may get an issue with this. So let's go and have a look at how this looks different in Navigraph. Yeah, look, Tango Alpha 6 so it's going to be over here, Bravo 5 6 Bravo. Okay, so Tango Alpha 6 Bravo is here. So I need to ask for permission to cross runway 28 left. Ground, United 073 requesting permission to cross runway 28 left.
United 073, cross runway 28 left, then continue taxi.
Crossing 28 left, then continue taxi, United 073. So I'm being asked if I've got multiplayer on. No, I haven't. I've got the other traffic you can see and you heard around me in the simulator is being provided by Say Intentions, which is artificially intelligent traffic.
United 2409er, taxi to the gate.
United 2409er, taxi to parking via Tango Bravo Delta 7B.
So it's over here, wasn't it?
Tango Bravo Delta
I think
7B,
that's it
United
there.
2409er.
Oh, let me just check this before we go any further. We have to stay on Alpha, don't we, until we get to it. Okay, we cross over to Alpha, and then it's basically the direction we're pointing, which is what we just suspected. So we should be going this way, and then turning left. It's on the right side of that building over there. So we took the... Oh, I should have had the landing lights off by now. That's my bad. This should go to off.
Romeo Hotel ready to taxi.
Also, we should have the taxi
Citation
light
for
on.
Romeo Hotel, runway 1 left taxi via Charlie Zulu Bravo 1 Alpha Mike 1.
Runway 1 left taxi via Charlie Zulu Bravo 1 Alpha Mike 1, citation for Romeo Hotel.
So this is 6 Bravo, which is what we're looking for, and we're going to be doing this next left turn.
Truck is already disconnected.
San Francisco ground, United 123. We are ready for taxi to runway 28 right with progressive taxi, please.
United 123 Heavy, San Francisco ground, runway 28
parking brake is on.
via 6 Bravo Alpha Foxtrot.
We don't have to call
ground
ground to say we're on the blocks. They won't close the flight. That's not the way Say Intentions does things. So we can just go for ground power. It is available. So we've gone to ground power. We're no longer using the engines anymore. So we can shut them down.
123, thank you.
So then we can go Shift 7 to look overhead and we can start turning things off. So your damper's off. Shift 8 was it to go further overhead. Let's go and turn the inertial reference system off. And turn the window heats off. Or I would if I could click on them. Turn the probes off, or to auto. Turn the hydraulic pumps off. Turn the packs off. Should we go and tell... Now, in this version of the aeroplane, we've still got power. So we should be able to... Now this is a bug in the simulator potentially, let's find out. We want to go to ground services and I bet it's... Yeah, it's saying boarding, look, not deboarding, which is a real pain. Which means we can't get the air bridge to, the jet bridge to connect to the aeroplane, which is really annoying. Okay, so we can play games with Say Intentions. Hi cabin crew, we can let the passengers go now. So seatbelt signs off.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have landed at San Francisco International Airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until we have come to a complete stop at the gate.
United 2019 taxi to parking via Echo Bravo Bravo 4.
What else did we do? Just the fuel pumps, that's all. Okay, so everything's switched back off overhead. This is not really worth doing it. This airplane has no memory. It will start next time in a perfect situation. And obviously if you want to go completely cold and dark, we can just go and turn off the ground power. Will it let us? That's interesting. And then, having done that, we should be able to go dark. There we go. Yeah, you can see how it really should have lost some systems when we turned the ground power off. The batteries won't provide everything. There we go. So, in terms of the things you can do in the aeroplane, we did it, and it was a nice smooth flight. It was good. So there was a few things we saw along the way that weren't realistic in terms of the airplane, like as somebody pointed out in the live stream, I forgot the air bleed from the engines, but we saw no, effects of doing that.
Runway 1 left taxi via Charlie Delta Alpha.
And you just saw then, we turned off the ground power, we didn't lose any systems when we were just sat on battery. That wouldn't be true of the real thing. You'd hear alarms immediately. But otherwise, yeah, it was all fine. It was a bit bumpier than I made it look on the approach when I went manual. As soon as we were away from the trim equilibrium, it was floating around all over the place. So the flight model, in that final descent phase was a little bit off, possibly, but then I'm not a 737 pilot. I'm just judging that based on more realistic aeroplanes that have cost quite a lot of money in the simulator that seem to be a lot more predictable and not, easier to manage in those final few seconds. But otherwise, no, it was absolutely fine. I forgot to turn the flight directors off, didn't I? So let's just do that. Okay, there we go. Anyway, that was the 737 MAX in Flight Simulator 2024. We flew from Seattle down to San Francisco. We've got Say Intentions in the background, which is providing all the other airplanes doing everything around us. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you again soon.
United 1176, taxi to parking via Echo Bravo Bravo 5.